Good morning, Becky.
Hello, Bonnie.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing really good this morning.
Well, I see beer sitting on your counter, so you must be doing really well. Some of us are here. Look, I'm in my office again. I'm back in the building, which I'm
Good.
kind of excited about that. I don't have beer sitting here, though, on my desk, so you're going to have to tell us what's happening with beer on your counter the first thing in the morning.
Well, I'm retired, right?
That's
so if
true.
I want to put beer in my orange juice, I can.
So what do you have there along with the beer?
Okay. Today we're sort of doing German for Oktoberfest. We're sort of leaning towards the German side. So, you know, I heard the Germans like beer. I don't know. I have a little piece of German in me. That must be why I drank beer this morning.
Okay, so this will be a happy day.
Yeah. So what I did today was a beer. It's called a cheesy beer or creamy beer cheese. Look, I can't even talk straight. Better quit drinking. And I can't hold it up because it's runny, but I'll show you. I have pretzels, and it's just a nice thick cheese.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you how I did this. Now, this is not on the website, but I'll have Bonnie put that on there.
Okay.
But it does have a half a cup of beer in it. So let me taste it first.
Can you taste the beer?
Yeah, it comes through really well. So what I did with this morning is I took a small saucepan and I put 3 tablespoons of butter, and I let that butter melt, and I added 3 tablespoons of flour. Now I've made a roux. If you don't know what a roux is, it's just the fat from the butter and from the butter, and you add the flour and it thickens. It's your thickening.
Right.
And as soon as that got all incorporated, I stirred it with a whisk for about 30 seconds. And then I took a drink of beer. No, I put a half a cup of beer in there.
That's part of the whisking. Is that whisking the beer? Yes.
Yes. As this is cooking and I'm whisking, I poured a half a cup of beer in. And I kept stirring until that was all incorporated and all the lumps were out, which I didn't have any lumps. The only beer I had was an Oktoberfest beer. They suggested Yingling, just a plain Yingling. This is a Yingling beer, but it is Oktoberfest. It has some spices in it, and it does come out in the cheese sauce. You can taste it.
Well, that sounds better. So where's the cheese part in this dip?
Get there. So we're stirring that, and then I pour 1 cup of whole milk in there. And I keep stirring until it thickens. The flour will help it thicken. It took a few minutes, and it'll start to thicken. And then to that, I added 1 teaspoon of grainy mustard. I added a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and a pinch of cayenne pepper, just for a little bit of heat. And then I added a pinch of parsley, and you could do that or not. I think it adds a little, it looks good in there.
Okay.
And then I stirred that all together, and I had shredded cheddar cheese. Now, when you go to put cheese in sauces like this, if you use the pre-shredded, they actually put something in there to keep it from sticking. So it's not as good to use in your sauces because it doesn't melt real well.
Okay.
So I actually got 2 blocks of cheddar cheese, and I grated it. And so I put a block and a half of an 8-ounce cheddar cheese. I think I used sharp cheddar in this. And then that just all melts together. And that's it.
Well, that's not too hard.
No, and it's just wonderful. Here, let me tell you again.
So does it taste like cheese or taste like beer?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So when you first eat it, you get the cheese. And then when it hits your tongue, you can taste the beer. You can
Oh.
taste a little bit of the mustard and a little bit of the spices, but those are the two flavors that come out first. And it's just so yummy. So
Well, a good breakfast, I guess.
maybe not for breakfast, but it might be okay to eat along my lunch today. We're doing cabbage rolls.
Oh,
So
yes.
it might be fun to have this first and then eat my cabbage rolls.
Okay.
So we'll put that recipe on the website, and it's just something fun. It's really good for fall and a lot of fun. So I'll put that back.
On football, during Sunday football games would be a really good time.
Yep, Sunday football games.
Football games would be a perfect little dip while you're sitting there watching the football game.
Yeah, and you could probably dip anything in it. It doesn't have to be pretzels. It could be chips, or it could be, veggies. You could do celery and things like that. Okay.
If you want to be healthy during the football game, you could use veggies.
You could. Be a little healthy. Be a little healthy.
So we're making cabbage rolls today.
We are, but first we have to do dessert. So we've eaten our appetizer. Now it's dessert.
Well, I haven't heard about what dessert is today, so this is a surprise for me too.
It is, and I will get this to the website too, this recipe. Of course, these things I had to do ahead of time, or I just wouldn't get them done in time. So this is called an old-fashioned oatmeal cake.
Oh.
So let me tell you what I did. And
Why is there a corner missing?
I had to taste it. Come on.
Of course.
So let me get a piece of this out of here. How I did this, look at that.
Oh.
Yummy.
That's like one of my favorite kind of cakes too, like a oatmeal, well, like a spice cake kind of.
Yeah, it's got a lot of spice in it. So what I did was I took a cup and a half of quick oats and I put it in a measuring cup that I could pour hot boiling water over. So you take a cup and a half of quick oats, and that's the finer cut oats, and you can use the regular oats,
right?
Because I did that before and it works fine. And then you add a cup and a fourth of boiling water over those oats, stir them up, and let them set. So you just let that set for 20 minutes.
Right.
So you can go over to, use a mixer, and I put 1 cup of brown sugar, one cup of white sugar, and a half a cup, and that's 1 stick of softened butter. Got to make butter, right?
Sugar, and butter. Okay.
Put that in your mixer and let that mix up and let it become a little fluffy, let it all incorporate. And then when that's done, you add 3 eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla. And then in another bowl, I'll combine a cup and a half of flour, a teaspoon of soda, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon and a half of ground cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. So there's your spices. And I just take a whisk and stir that all up, add that to my wet mixture, and I mix that all up. I put it in a 9x13 pan. I spray the pan and flour it so that it comes out.
Okay.
And you bake that. Just trying to think. It usually takes 35 minutes to bake, 35 to 40 minutes. So keep an eye on it. And of course, you always know the cake's done when it springs back, or you can take a toothpick and test it. Make sure the toothpick comes out clean. And when it comes out, well, while it's baking, you want to make the topping, because you want to put the topping on when the cake is hot. So while that cake's baking, I put 2/3 cup of brown sugar in a saucepan with 1/4 cup of butter and melt that together and stir it with a whisk.
Right.
And let that all come together. And then I put 3 tablespoons of half and half. I put a cup of coconut and a cup of chopped nuts.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really good. Stir that all up and set it aside. And when that cake comes out, you want to put that topping on hot and spread it all over your cake. And then you take the cake and you shove it back into your oven under a broiler for 1 to 2 minutes. It just wait till the top bubbles. And what that does is it just sort of sets the crust on top.
No, sounds good.
Yeah, very, very good. So that's it. And then I let it set for a little while so that it can cool off, and then I cut it, and of course, you know, you see I ate it.
So that other slice will be for Dave later, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm going to give some of this away to my friend Lynn that I travel with. So she's coming over and getting dinner later. So.
Oh, well, that's good. Is she having stuffed cabbage?
She is. She loves them. My husband doesn't like them. So I told her, I said, I have half the recipe for you to take home with you. So she was so excited.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, let's see how the cabbage rolls work. I've never actually made them. My mother used to make them for my dad, but I've never made them myself.
Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, let's mix up our meat that'll go inside. And it's almost like a meatloaf, almost.
Right.
So it calls for 1 pound of ground beef. And if you can find it lean, I think mine is 85/15 is the fat content that I got in mine. And I am just going to make half of it because I've already made the other half earlier. So I'll tell you what the whole recipe calls for, but this is just half.
Okay, gotcha.
So you combine 1 pound of ground beef. You combine 1 cup of cooked rice. Now, it can be white rice. It can be brown rice. It doesn't really matter. Either one.
Right.
Just make sure it's cooked before you put it in here. Okay. And then to that, we put, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Instead of the onion, we're going to do onion powder. So there's your onion powder. And then to that, I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt. So a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of pepper, just black pepper. To that, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of paprika. And that just adds a nice color, a little bit of flavor. And then 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And this just has oregano, basil, rosemary, a lot of your Italian herbs in there. So dry. And then we're going to add, it called for 1/4 cup of fresh parsley. Well, I went out to my garden and I had very little parsley. So I picked what I have and it'll go on top. So I've got some dried parsley, and if you do 1 tablespoon of fresh, it's 1 teaspoon to dried. So it's 3 to 1. So
if you're doing a dry ingredient.
Yeah, if you're doing a dry ingredient. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon, maybe a little bit there.
Throw it all in there.
Throw it all in there. Okay, and then to that, I've got 4 cloves of garlic. This is why it's not good for my husband. He doesn't like garlic.
Exactly. I remember that.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get our garlic ready to put in there. And I think that's one of the things for me that makes it taste really good is garlic, because I love garlic. Sort of nice to cook something without having to fix it for him this time.
He doesn't like it anyway, it won't matter.
No, he doesn't like all that tomato sauce on there. So I don't know. Go figure.
Oh, well.
I've got a neat little contraption, and I may have already showed you this. I'm not sure. You want to put minced garlic in here. You don't want big bites of garlic. And my daughter actually got me this. It's a little contraption that'll mince your garlic. So all you do is after you got your garlic clean, put it in there, and you just twist it.
Oh. Well, that looks pretty handy.
It is really handy.
And then you don't have to taste like, your fingers won't smell like garlic forever.
Nope. And then you just take a fork and you pop it in. That's all you do to it.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite contraptions. And like I say, whatever I'm doing garlic in has to be for me. So, okay. So that's done. And what have I got left? Let's see. we put parsley. Oh, one. It calls for 1 egg in a whole.
In a whole batch.
A whole batch. But this morning I thought, now how do I split an egg? So
I don't think you do.
I just put the whole egg.
It's an egg. Is that a double yolk egg?
I didn't think so.
Oh, maybe it's smooshed.
Okay, so we have everything in here. I don't think I missed anything. Garlic, salt, pepper, well, Worcestershire sauce. Want that in there. Let's put 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce.
I like the way you say that.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
Yeah, I think it just adds a little richness to everything. Okay. So let me mix that up. I guess I just mix it with my hands.
Go for it.
Yeah. And really all you're making is just really like I say, it's like a meatloaf. And with this whole egg, it did make it a little soft, but it worked okay. I did it earlier. Okay. Let me get this off my hands. Okay, our meat is ready. So I cooked my cabbage earlier. What I did was I took a whole head of cabbage and I cut the core out. I just cut around it. I had a big pot of boiling water and I just dropped the whole head into the pot.
Okay.
So I left it in there just long enough for the leaves to cook. So it didn't take, I don't know, I may have had it in there 10 minutes or so. And so the leaves are cooked. I set it into a bowl and let it cool, and then I just pulled the leaves off.
Well, so that's pretty.
Yeah, very easy.
Very easy.
Okay. And of course, before all of this, I actually made my sauce. I've got it all made up here. What I put in this is on the stove. I took 2 tablespoons of olive oil, half of an onion diced, 4 cloves of garlic, and I let that cook up. To that, I add 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, salt and pepper to taste, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and a teaspoon of dried herbs. Now,
man, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, if you don't,
I'll let you cook for me. I'll let you do the cooking.
If you don't want to get that involved, I would just buy a jar of marinara sauce, and you could doctor it a little bit. You know, put a little more garlic powder, maybe add some onions, you know, whatever. Just doctor it up, so you don't have to go to all this trouble.
Okay.
It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's really good. Okay, we got our cooked cabbage leaves, and they're sort of, you know, cooked limp. What you want to do is you want to cut this core out. It's a hard piece, and I just make a little cut, a little triangle cut, and just pull that hard piece out.
Okay.
So
I've never seen these done from start to finish, so I have no idea.
Yeah. So let's cut those out, and I'll show you what I did. So you end up with sort of a V at the end, but I'll show you what I did this morning to wrap it. Because it's basically just wrapping that meat up in these leaves.
So how many do you get from how many is this going to make?
12. The original recipe will make 12.
Okay.
Of course, I made 6 earlier, so that's what we're doing 6 now.
Okay, gotcha.
We've got these all cut, and we're going to fill them with the little meat sauce. But let me get my pan ready here. It calls for a bigger pan, a 9-18, but I just did an 8x8 pan for this.
For half of it. That's half.
Yeah. So let me spray it with a little cooking spray. And then we're going to put about half our sauce in the bottom. So we'll just put that in the bottom. And just spread that around, because that's the bed. That's what the cabbage rolls are going to set in. Okay. let's take one of these cabbage rolls and we'll lay it out. And what I did was I put the meat up towards the top there, right where the little bed sort of sets.
Looks like a diaper.
It does look like. And I'll tell you what I did was I did all of them, and then I could tell if some of them needed a little more meat or a little less meat. So let me do that again.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And that way you can tell what you've got here. Have you eaten cabbage rolls, Bonnie?
Oh, yeah. My mom used to make them when I was a kid because my dad loved them. And, but my kids, after I had kids of my own, they weren't such fans of it. So,
yeah.
And when I had 5 kids at home, you kind of usually cooked what everybody liked. So,
well, I have leftovers that nobody likes, right?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. Okay, we've got them all filled, and let's roll them. So what I did was I rolled the top part first, not the one with the V, but the top part first. And then I just brought the sides in, and then I brought the bottom up over. So what it did is just made a little pocket.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'll show you again here with one of them that you can see.
So are you putting the folded side down, or are you leaving it up?
I'm putting folded side down.
Okay.
Yes, that's so my meat and everything doesn't come out. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that looks pretty well. I thought you put toothpicks or something in them.
Nope, I just folded that side over first, and then both my sides came in, and then my bottom flipped over. So it just
that's easy. Well, yeah. That's awful cute too. That's just cute.
Just cute. Well, we'll see if they taste good. That's important. Flip it over and set it in my sauce. Same thing here, top, sides. The ones I made earlier, the leaves were a little smaller, and I struggled just a little bit with it. But they turned out just perfect. So the top, the sides, and then flip it over. Okay, I've got them all in my dish, as you can see. And I'll put the rest of the sauce on top. So this will go in an oven. It'll go in a 350 oven. I did it for about 70 minutes. I did an hour, and then I checked them, and then I put them in for another 10 minutes. So they do bake a little long. Okay, there they are.
They look lovely. Is there any like something involved in like sprinkling on the top or any like?
No, not until they come out. When they come out, I'll put some parsley on them. So let me set this aside and get it in the oven.
Put it in the magic oven.
Put it in the magic oven. And voila, magic oven.
Voila! It's even a different pan that came out of the oven this time.
It is.
Oh, those look really good though.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and plate these up. Now, there's a debate on what you plate them up with. The recipe called for mashed potatoes. Put them over mashed potatoes.
Oh.
What did you use to put them over, Bonnie? Your mom?
It wasn't mashed potatoes, I don't believe. Gosh, I don't remember now. My mom's from the South, so it would have been something grits? Southern.
Grits or maybe rice. I have extra rice, but I made mashed potatoes this morning because that sounded really good, and I made them.
Okay, so, well, that would be my choice, but looks good.
Let's put a dollop of mashed potatoes, and then on top of that, let's put one of these lovely things. I forgot to tell you, the ones I'm going to put in the oven, I will cover with aluminum foil and make sure you keep them covered. Okay, let's do this one in the corner.
Oh.
Little sauce over that.
Now, you have tried these yet or not?
Nope.
Oh.
Isn't that lovely?
It looks beautiful. Yes. Okay. Let's give it a try. How's it smell? Does it smell good?
Wonderful. The cabbage parts you can just smell all over the house. Let me try this. Mm. Oh, Bonnie.
And I'm not very far away today, so I'm like right down the road.
You're funny. These are really good. And I'll tell you what, I really like them with mashed potatoes.
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't know that I did, but it doesn't look bad. So it would be nice to try.
Look at that.
The cabbage rolls look awesome, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bonnie, I got to come in town here about 2:30 for a doctor's appointment. I'll drop you off a cabbage roll.
Oh, that would be awesome. That'll be my late lunch because I didn't bring lunch today.
There you go.
I have to get back into the habit of being out of my house for a whole day.
Yeah. So today we've got the cabbage rolls, and we have my beer cheese and pretzels, and then we have the oatmeal cake. Do you want me to taste that for you too?
Yeah, give me a taste of that. Let me see. I'm living vicariously through your meals, so let me see how it tastes.
I do know this is very good.
Well, there was a piece missing out of the corner, so you knew that ahead of time.
Oh my goodness. Oh, if I was German, more of me German.
I think it doesn't really matter.
I'd be in German heaven. Delicious.
It looks delicious. But now you're going to have to come to chair exercise class tomorrow since you had a nice German lunch. So we are doing our chair exercises now Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays back here in the building. So it's at 1 o'clock. So Becky, if you want to stop by and see some of your old cohorts and chair exercise with us tomorrow.
And Bonnie, I'm assuming that everyone's wearing masks.
We're being social distancing. Masks are required for anything we're doing right now, just especially in our initial phases of opening up. We're definitely being extra safe, extra careful, extra clean. So everybody's got to wear a mask. If you don't have them, we have them here. So it's chair exercise. Yeah.
And I think what's happened is you keep telling yourself, I'm going to exercise at home, and you don't.
No.
And if you make an appointment to come in and exercise, it's just great because you're with a group and you do it every week, and it's really good for you.
And it just makes you feel good to get out and see people. And it's just been nice seeing faces, even with masks on. Yeah. It's nice to have people in the building. So come and visit with us. Give me a call. I'll put your name on the list.
Okay, I'll do that. And what's your phone number again, just in case someone forgets?
423-6022. So give me a call, and I will put you on the list, and we'll have fun. It'll be fun.
Okay.
We got to get people back in the door. People need to get up out of their chairs now after 6 months and come back out to see us. So
and stop eating all this food.
And we're going to keep eating, and that's why we're going to have to keep coming and exercising.
Right. That's right. Especially as the weather turns colder, we need to
we're going to be hibernating, so we really need to get out and be ready for hibernation.
A little bit about next week. The weather has changed. It's turning colder on us now. So next week, I think we're going to do soups. I've got a couple soups in mind. I have a chicken wild rice soup, and it's actually a copycat soup from Panera Bread, so don't tell Panera Bread that. And then a minestrone soup, and it's actually a copycat off of Olive Garden. And of course, it's tweaked out a little. It's a little different, but it's close.
Right. I think we've had those here once or twice for Cooking Club, maybe. So that'll be nice for everybody to have the recipes and watch you make it.
Yep. And then I found a recipe for 7-Up biscuits. You pour 7-Up in it. I don't know. It's worth a try. We'll see what that's like. So we'll have biscuits and soup next week.
That sounds good. It'll be nice, warm, comfort food for the changing weather.
I agree.
Okay. Well, thank you again. It's always fun. I like doing it with you every week, and I still get to see your face. So
you do.
The food's always good. And go ahead.
Just remember, exercise so we keep ourselves healthy, independent, and productive. So make sure we eat well, exercise, keep our minds engaged, and keep us hip.
Keep us hip. Drink your water. All right. Drink my water. Thanks, Becky. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You too.